My husband's ex called me sister at our wedding, and that's when I learned the truth. He called me sister as he raised his glass, right in front of our entire family, and I realized something was horribly wrong. I'm Maya, 32, event planner by trade, hopeless romantic by nature. Today was supposed to be the pinnacle of my love story, the wedding I'd spent a year meticulously crafting, down to the hand-painted escort cards and the delicate blush peonies in my bouquet. As I stepped into the sunlit courtyard of Rosewood Manor, past the rows of white chairs and petal-strewn aisle, my heart swelled. There was Noah, his shoulders back, beaming in his charcoal suit. In that moment, every flutter of nerves dissolved into pure joy. We met 5 years ago at a charity gala. I spilled red wine on his crisp shirt. He laughed it off and offered me his napkin. We danced, talked until dawn, and found in each other a partner who laughed at our quirks and held our dreams like fragile art. Today, those dreams glittered under a perfect blue sky as we said our vows. I promised to stand by him in sunshine and rain. He promised to honor me forever. When I sealed it with a kiss, the crowd erupted, and I felt like the luckiest woman alive. The reception was a dream, fairy lights draped between magnolia trees, a live quartet playing our song. At last, and cocktails named after inside jokes. Spill the wine sangria. Of course. Guests mingled on the lawn beneath the elm trees, laughter echoing. My new mother-in-law embraced me. Welcome to the family, darling. I felt it, warmth, acceptance, promise. Then I saw her. Standing near the bar, a flash of auburn hair in a wine-red dress. I barely recognized her face, but Noah did, and his smile froze. She was tall, elegant, with a posture that said she belonged. My breath caught as she approached with a poised stride. I'd heard he was married once, long ago, but she'd seemed a distant memory, a chapter closed. She extended her hand to me, voice smooth. Maya, right? I'm Rachel. As I took her hand, ice ran through my veins. Her grip was firm, almost possessive. Congratulations, dear sister. My pulse hammered. Oh, thank you. I blinked, heart fluttering. Sister? She smiled, a flicker of something unreadable in her eyes. We're sisters now, aren't we? You and I. She swept her arm toward Noah, who forced a polite nod. You look stunning. I laughed nervously, brushing a loose curl behind my ear. Well, it's a busy day. Thank you. I stepped back, eager to rejoin my guests, but Rachel leaned in. I'm so happy for you, she said, but I do hope you'll let me help with the seating chart later. My mind whirled. Help? I was the planner. She was supposed to be gone. I forced a smile. Of course. Thank you. She drifted into the crowd as seamlessly as a breeze. I watched her perch by the guestbook, signing her name like a queen claiming territory. Whispers rippled around her, some faces lit with recognition, others with confusion. A woman nearby murmured, Isn't she his ex? I small-talked my way through the next minutes, offering hors d'oeuvres, raising a toast to my new husband. But under the polished veneer, dread gnawed at me. The ceremony had felt so right. Rachel's presence felt so wrong. Every time I glanced at Noah, he was smiling, but I caught the flinch in his eyes, the tension in his shoulders. The band struck up the intro to our first dance. Guests formed a circle as Noah extended his hand. My dress swirled as I stepped into his arms. We moved slowly, spotlighted amid fairy lights. Yet I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't just dancing with my husband but with a web of secrets waiting to trap me. As we swayed to the crescendo, I saw Rachel slip behind a tall fern, phone in hand, watching us. Her lips curved in that same unreadable smile. I shivered, palms damp. When the song ended, the band launched into an upbeat tune and guests cheered. I tilted my head, searching Noah's face. His jaw clenched, and a flicker of guilt crossed his eyes before he laughed and lifted my hand to wave. In that moment, I knew our perfect day had cracked. Something about Rachel's tone, her slip of sister, carried a weight, an invitation into a family secret I hadn't bargained for. The afternoon sun sparkled, but for me, The sky had suddenly clouded. I forced a radiant smile for the photographers, but inside my heart pounded with a wordless question: how well do I really know the man I married? And as the celebration went on, I realized this wedding, my carefully choreographed dream, had just become a crucible for the truth Rachel was about to reveal. The morning after our perfect wedding, the hangover of joy left me with an unsettling hangover of dread. I woke to the muted clink of plates as guests lingered over brunch in the courtyard, leftover pastries, half-empty coffee urns, and I tried to recapture the magic of the day before. But every time I smiled at a guest, I noticed their eyes flicker toward Rachel, perched in a corner like a watchful statue. Noah was besieged by congratulations. I found him near the mimosa bar, laughing with his groomsmen. I slipped up beside him, nudging his arm. "Hey, check on the flowers in the west garden?" I murmured. He nodded, but I saw his gaze slide past me to where Rachel stood. He forced a grin and raised his eyebrows, as if to say, "She's fine." But his shoulders were tight, his laugh brittle. Over coffee, Aunt Lorraine leaned in, voice low. "Darling, did you sleep okay after, you know?" She nodded toward Rachel. I shrugged, forcing calm. "Of course. It was just odd." She gave me a sympathetic look. "Family can be complicated." Later, as I gathered my bridesmaids for a debrief on seating arrangements, bridesmaid Jenna caught my eye, her lips pressed in a thin line. After we stepped aside, she whispered, "Maya, is Rachel okay? She was practically living at the table last night." I swallowed. "I have no idea." She shook her head. "It's like she's staking a claim." That afternoon, my phone buzzed with a string of texts from unknown numbers. "Congrats, cousin!" and "Welcome to the family, sis." Each message felt like a knife twist, guests assuming Rachel's relationship without explanation. At rehearsal for the thank you toast, I overheard two relatives in hushed tones. "I heard she and Noah have a child together." "No way. They never mentioned that. People say he kept it secret." I froze, spat out my line. "And so, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you." My lips trembled. The words tasted like ash. I fled the hall, leading the podium to awkward silence. Outside, the summer breeze teased straight strands of my hair. I dialed Noah. "Hey, babe," he answered. "Do you know if Rachel has kids?" My voice shook. He sighed heavy. "We don't talk about it." My heart lurched. "Why not?" He cleared his throat. "That's personal. Please trust me." I dropped my phone. The plastic seemed digging into my palm. Trust? But trust felt like a luxury I couldn't afford anymore. At the reception that evening, Rachel glided up to me, her perfume a whisper of jasmine and something colder. "Enjoying married life, sister?" she purred, voice sweetly mocking. I plastered on a smile. "Still settling in." Her eyes sparkled. "I'll be here for whatever you need." I forced a nod. Every fiber of me screamed to ask why she kept calling me sister, why her presence loomed over every conversation. Yet I couldn't risk an argument on day 2 of my marriage. As the band played a slow ballad, I saw it all around me, guests exchanging puzzled glances, servers furrowed brows as they fielded Rachel's familial requests, my own friends whispering behind champagne glasses. The dream had cracked, and shining shards lay scattered across my heart. Late that night, I sat beside Noah in our hotel suite's balcony. The city lights flickered below. He reached for my hand and pulled me close. "What's on your mind?" I stared at his worry-etched face. "You're hiding something about Rachel. I can feel it." He sighed. "She's complicated. We have history." "How much history?" I pressed, voice soft but urgent. He hesitated, then whispered, "More than you know." The breeze carried the echo of his words as I leaned into him, heart pounding. Beneath the veil of perfect celebration lay secrets I couldn't ignore. And as the night deepened, I realized I'd have to peel back every polite layer of this family facade to protect my marriage, and my sense of self, before the truth tore us apart completely. The sleepless nights gave me determination. I couldn't keep dancing around Rachel's sly reference or Noah's tight-lipped family history. I needed answers. So I turned to the one place we all overshare: social media. My first stop was Noah's profile. The wedding photos were tagged "married" and "finally." But what if I dug deeper? I clicked through his old posts, scanning comments, tracing back to 5 years ago. Then I saw it, a photo of Noah and Rachel at a city council gala, arms around each other, smiles too perfect. The caption read, "Proud to support sister at Rachel K in her re-election bid." Sister? I blinked. I shared the screenshot with my best friend, Kara. "Look at this." They actually called each other, sister. Kara's brow rose. "That's odd. Is it just a figure of speech?" I shook my head. "That's not it." Next, I reached out to Noah's college roommate, Ben, over a discreet DM. "Hey Ben, long time. Quick question, what's the deal between Noah and Rachel?" He replied within minutes, "Can't talk now. DM me tomorrow." The wait was excruciating. That night, I stumbled upon a small archive of local news articles, a brief item about a custody hearing 3 years ago involving Rachel and a co-parent named Nathan Clark. I clicked through to the courthouse records, public domain. My hands shook as I read. Clark versus Reynolds, closed settlement, minor child. My breath caught. Reynolds, Noah's last name. Nathan Clark? Could that be Noah's alias? Children's names were redacted, but the filing date was exactly 6 years ago, about the time Noah and Rachel were seen campaigning together. My heart thundered. I confronted Noah over coffee. He pressed his lips together as I placed the documents before him. "This court case," I said, voice tight. "This is you and Rachel? A custody battle?" His gaze flickered. "That was a long time ago." "A long time ago? You never mentioned a child." He rubbed his forehead. "I didn't know how to tell you. Because I'm your wife, or because you were ashamed?" My words cut deeper than I intended. He sank back. "After the divorce, custody was granted to Rachel. I was barely in the picture." I closed my eyes, the pieces clicking together. Sister wasn't casual. It was a twisted euphemism. They were mother and father to a child I'd never known existed. But why keep it secret at our wedding? I replayed her tone. "Welcome to the family, sister." She'd been reclaiming her role as both mother and sister to the child's father, mocking my ignorance in public. "Did you tell me because you loved me?" I whispered. "Or because you didn't care I deserved the truth?" He winced. "I love you." I was trying to keep that life buried. I stood, fury adding strength to my legs. "A life you built with her. A child you share." He reached for my hand, eyes pleading. "Please, let me explain." I stepped back. Explain why I danced on my wedding day next to her, thinking I was gaining a sister-in-law, when instead I was buried under her secret. He flinched. "I never meant to hurt you." I shook my head. "Your secrets hurt more than any betrayal I imagined." That night, I lay awake, mind racing, a hidden child, a courtroom battle, a deception that violated every vow we'd exchanged. I thought back to Rachel's poised facade at our reception, the way she claimed me as sister, the glint of triumph in her eyes. Was she manipulating both of us? Or had she orchestrated our wedding as her stage? And Noah, did he truly love me, or was I simply the next chapter in a family script he never bothered revising? I realized then, this wasn't just betrayal of trust. It was the unraveling of my entire life's foundation. I had to decide, cling to half-truths and hope his love saved us, or walk away and rebuild from the truth I now owned. As dawn broke, I sat on the edge of the bed, steeling myself for the inevitable confrontation. Because in the shadows of secrets, only truth could set me free, and I was no longer afraid of the light. The next evening, I refused to wait any longer. I texted Noah. "We need to talk. Now." He arrived at my apartment an hour later, face drawn, suit rumpled as if he'd slept in it. I closed the door behind him and led him to the living room, where the custody records and wedding photos lay scattered on the coffee table like landmines. I pointed to the documents. Explain these. Explain why you hid a 6-year-old child from me, your own wife. My voice trembled, but I demanded clarity. He swallowed. Maya, I was ashamed. Rachel and it got complicated. When I found out she was pregnant, I panicked. I wasn't ready to be a father, and I certainly wasn't ready to be married again. His eyes met mine, guilt pooling in their depths. I thought I could step in later, fix things, but I never found the right moment. I closed the gap between us, fury replacing shock. You thought hiding our child was fixing things? You erased 6 years of his life, our life together, and gave him to her custody while you built a secret world. He ran a hand through his hair. I know it sounds terrible. I was young, immature. I loved him, but I was terrified. And then I met you. You gave me everything I wanted: stability, love, a future. I felt I had to bury the past to protect us. My heart twisted. Protect us? Or protect you? I gestured at the photos of our wedding, my smile frozen in time. I pledged my life to you, Noah. You pledged it back. But you built a lie so massive it swallowed me whole. He knelt, eyes desperate. Please, Maya, believe me, I love you. I can't lose you over a mistake. I shook my head, stepping back. Mistake? You don't get to outrank a lifetime of trust with an excuse. Before he could respond, my phone chimed, a message from Rachel. I opened it, stomach nodding. Rachel, hope you're settling. See you tomorrow at 3 for the seating chart adjustments. EXO. Sis. I showed him. She's still playing games. Still calling me sis. She thinks this is her wedding too. He flinched. I'll talk to her. Don't. I cut in. She's scripted this from day one. I saw her texts, planning, controlling. She's obsessed with him, and with breaking us. He looked away. She's always been jealous. Of me? I snapped. Of our life? Of our love for our child? He closed his eyes. Of our happiness. I sank onto the couch, rubbing my temples. And you let her breed lies between us. You gaslight me with every blurry denial. He knelt before me, hands clasped. I know I messed up. But I'm trying to make it right. I've texted her, told her to back off. I changed our passwords. I stood and paced, adrenaline surging. Passwords? Game over? You think that undoes 6 years of betrayal? He rose, eyes pleading. No, but I can be transparent now. I'll answer every question. Go through my phone. My bank statements. I'll bring him here. We can co-parent openly. Silence filled the room. I stared at him, searching for sincerity. You want a second chance at our future. But you gave him a parallel one, behind my back. Noah's lips quivered. I'm sorry. And Rachel? I spat. You think she'll stop? He exhaled, defeat in his posture. I love her too, once. But right now I need you. I pressed my hand to my chest, heart pounding. Prove it. His voice cracked. Yes. I crossed to the door. Then you start by canceling tomorrow's meeting. You tell her you're married, to me. Then you bring our son here. To me. His eyes flickered with fear and hope. He reached for my hand. I will. I didn't pull away. I need action, not promises. He nodded, solemn. You'll have it. As he left, I closed the door and leaned against it, relief mingling with uncertainty. The battle lines were drawn. Lies had been exposed, but truth still had to be enforced, fought for, lived. Tomorrow at 3 o'clock, the real test would begin. The ex-wife, the ex-mother would come knocking, and I would be waiting, not as a naive bride, but as a woman determined to claim her life, her child, and her dignity. And this time, I would not be fooled. The moment I realized words weren't enough was the night I found Rachel's gift on my doorstep. A framed wedding photo of Noah and me, splashed through with red marker on my face. Below, in loopy handwriting, "Sister, don't forget who you really are." It was 2 a.m. The house was silent except for the hum of the refrigerator. I stared at that defaced image, fury and heartbreak flooding me. My perfect wedding day had been a battleground, and I'd played every role: bride, detective, victim. I slipped the photo into the recycling bin and paced the kitchen, mug of cold coffee in hand. Noah's promises he'd cancel the seating chart meeting, bring our son to me, and Rachel's manipulations had evaporated. He'd been too busy deflecting, repairing his bonds with Rachel, while my trust disintegrated. The next morning, I confronted him again. He wore the same suit, rumpled and weary. "Rachel's apologetic. She's giving us space." I shook my head. "She's playing you, not me. And you're letting it happen." His lips trembled. "I'm trying." I cut him off. "You're trying to save her feelings, not ours." He would try again, he would promise again, and I'd keep hurting. So I did the hardest thing I ever had to do. I walked away. I called my closest friends, Rosa and Jenna, and asked to meet at our favorite coffee shop. They arrived with concerned faces. Over warm lattes, I told them everything: the sister slip, the custody secrets, the defaced photo. Tears fell, and they hugged me tight. "I deserve better," I whispered. They cheered my courage. "You're reclaiming your life," Rosa said. That afternoon, I moved out of the townhome Noah and I shared. I packed my plants, my books, the wedding dress, boxed in the back of my closet, photos too precious for the trash. I chose a cozy one-bedroom near the river, walls painted a soft sage. Unpacking felt like exhaling after years underwater. I changed my name on our joint lease to remove Carter. I closed our joint bank account and opened a new one in my name. Each signature felt like stitching a new starting line. Friends and family rallied. My mother brought over a casserole. Jenna brought flowers for my nightstand. Rosa helped me install shelves for my art supplies, a reminder that creativity would be my compass. I began therapy, unearthing the ways I'd silenced my instincts. My counselor, Dr. Stein, guided me through exercises in vulnerability. "You can't build on sand," she said. "Find solid ground within yourself first." Each week, I reclaimed a little more. I signed up for a pottery class, my entire bowl cracking on the wheel until I learned to let imperfections shine. I reconnected with old friends, hosted a Galentine brunch where we laughed about exes and celebrated newfound freedom. Noah reached out once, voicemail full of apologies. I listened to it, then deleted it. His silence afterward was my answer. Rachel's final attempt came in the form of a florist's bill sent to my new address. "Sister, extra charges for sisterly support." I shredded it without reading. On weekends I walked by the park, where budding artists sketched scenes of families. I dreamed of one day returning with my own child, on my terms, in my own light. Then, one dawn, I received an acceptance email, a fellowship at the Riverside Arts Collective, to teach community mural workshops. Income, purpose, validation. I smiled so wide my cheeks ached. That evening, I stood on my balcony overlooking the river. The sky blushed pink and orange. I sipped chamomile tea and thought of Rachel's mocking sister and Noah's broken vows. I whispered to the twilight, "You called me sister to hide your secret, but I found my truth and my own family." Below, the water reflected city lights like 1,000 tiny promises. I turned and stepped inside, heart full, ready to embrace a future defined not by others' shadows, but by the strength I found in stepping into my own light. The first morning in my new apartment, sunlight streamed through sheer curtains onto a bouquet of yellow tulips resting on the windowsill. I stretched, heart light for the first time in months. The silence was welcoming, no late-night whispers, no defaced photos, no demands to be sister. Just me. I dressed in comfortable jeans and a soft blouse, then crossed to my art station. Blank canvases waited, brushes primed in jars of water. Today, I'd start the mural project with the Riverside Arts Collective, my first solo commission since leaving Noah. My hands trembled with anticipation as I sketched outlines of wildflowers and cityscapes, each stroke a reclamation of joy. Mid-morning, I poured chamomile tea into my favorite mug, etched with daisy patterns, and sat on the balcony. The city hummed below, cyclists pedaled past, morning commuters hurried, birds flitted across power lines. I inhaled deeply, feeling roots grow in my chest. This was my world now, one I'd shaped with courage and sweat. I reached for my phone to check messages. There was one from my boss at Riverside. "Thrilled to have you leading the community mural. Thank you for bringing your vision." I smiled so big my cheeks ached. It wasn't a wedding invite. It was an invitation to belong, to contribute, to create, to heal. After breakfast, I walked to the studio. On the way, I passed the park where our wedding had been held. The benches were empty, the arbor dormant. I remembered that perfect day, my heart soaring, only to crash under secrets. I paused, finger grazing the iron railing, and whispered, "Thank you for that lesson." Then I turned away and continued toward my future. At Riverside Arts Collective, colleagues greeted me with applause. We gathered under an awning of twinkling lights, soon to be painted into a mosaic of community portraits. I introduced myself, heart steady, voice sure. As we brainstormed designs, I realized the power of collaboration. No hidden agendas, no gaslighting, only mutual respect. That afternoon, I visited my therapist, Dr. Stein. She congratulated me on setting boundaries, reclaiming my narrative. We discussed the upcoming mural as a metaphor for my journey, bold colors emerging from blank space. "You're painting your own story," she said. "One you trust wholly." I nodded, tears of pride in my eyes. I finally see it. On the walk home, I stopped at a small bakery and treated myself to a card, golden sunflower illustration, embossed letters reading, "Trust yourself." I tucked it into my bag, a daily reminder pinned to my heart. Evening found me at a local gallery opening, part of my networking for the fellowship. I mingled with artists, sharing laughs and ideas. A man named Alex admired my sunflower sketch and asked if I'd consider a collaboration. His warmth was different, respectful, encouraging, no strings attached. I felt a spark, but this time, fully in my control. Later, I settled onto my couch with a journal, writing down lessons learned. Truth over comfort. I will never sacrifice my core for someone else's approval. Boundaries are freedom, saying no unlocked doors I didn't know existed. Self-love is sacred. I am whole, valued, and worthy. No past secret can change that. I closed the journal and touched the ring sitting on my nightstand, a simple silver band I'd inherited from my grandmother. I placed it on a small pedestal beside a framed photo of sunflowers. Not a symbol of a broken marriage, but of enduring faith in myself. As I turned off the light and slipped under the covers, I whispered into the dark. I was called sister to hide a secret, but I found my truth and my own family. Tomorrow, I'd wake up to daylight and possibility, painting my life in colors of strength, trust, and self-love, knowing that the best story is the one I write with my own hand.